Hi, everybody. This is Cathleen Scott, and welcome to the Cathleen Scott podcast. We're here at the very beginning of July, just winding up the last month, which was Pride Month, and things are very different now. You may have noticed that you didn't see as many companies and organizations posting a pro-Pride type of movement, and it got me to ask the question, why? All DEI initiatives are way down. 72% of corporations who have public filings or public identifying information have stopped using the language DEI or racial diversity altogether. NPR has reported that overall Pride advertisements and celebrations have dropped in terms of the amount of company investment in those organizations. A group called United Humanists says that there's been a strong movement away from any type of high-profile diversity scorecards, and 40% of companies have reduced overall or eliminated any type of reference to DEI. That's particularly true in states like New York, San Francisco, Florida, and San Francisco meaning California and Florida. So why is this? So there definitely has been a huge political shift, right? A changing in our political tide that makes it a lot less attractive and less incentives for companies to embrace these concepts of racial diversity and gender diversity and those types of things, including pride. NPR reported in its recent reporting that some of the reasons corporations are moving away from this are because they fear federal scrutiny and legal scrutiny. In some states like Florida, there's a movement towards making it illegal to train or include type programs that include DEI. There's a political calculus here, and there certainly is risk. And some companies even cite fearing anti-woke boycotts. Wow, how many things have changed. So got me thinking, is this good? Is it good for companies? Is it good for employees? Certainly, the pendulum can always go too far, but there was a certain balance that was being struck when companies were sort of paying attention to, is everybody being treated equally? Is everyone being treated fairly? Let's talk about a little story. A long time ago, together with a close friend, we litigated a case for many years that dealt with equal pay, and it dealt with gender discrimination and why women were paid less than men for the same position. And one of the things we discovered in that case was that the company had a very simple approach to promotions, a very simple approach to pay raises. And it didn't include any type of organization. It was sort of a tap on the shoulder, right? Oh, this is my golf buddy. This is my hunting buddy. This is my friend. This is my close movie-going girlfriend. And that's who I'm going to choose to put in these roles, as opposed to laying out metrics and ideas and creating more of a pathway and creating some type of infrastructure that would allow bias to be avoided, right? And so when we don't have that infrastructure, then we have sort of the employees getting chosen based on subjective likes or just general preferences. Maybe it's based on being friends. Maybe it's based on being the same color. Maybe it's based on being the same gender. And so I would argue that without some type of infrastructure in place that puts metrics first as opposed to preference, then you're always going to allow bias to permeate. And that's one of the real challenges with eliminating these programs. We're definitely taking the pendulum and swinging it from one direction back to the other. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up in the future. So in asking the question, is it good? Look at your own workplace. Look at your own company. Do you want to work for a company that values equality or values preference? I mean, just think of it. Don't think of it in terms of age, race, sex, gender, and protected characteristics, just basically as a fairness model. What do we really want from our company? We want a fair shake. We want equality. We want to be chosen for positions and promoted based on what? Merit. And so when you eliminate programs that sort of teach people how to avoid bias, and when you eliminate programs that favor no metrics, what happens is it's all bias. So I definitely think there's a balance to be struck there, right? Between not overly focusing or putting the thumb too heavy on the scale in favor of a particular group, but there's also a bias against there being no rules and no infrastructure that would prevent bias from permeating into decision making. I don't have the answers, but it's an interesting question. We'll have to take a look and see how this fares out in the future. Will there be more discrimination lawsuits? Will there be more unequal pay? Will there be more people promoted based on preference and not based on merit? We'll see. I'm Cathleen Scott, and this has been your Cathleen Scott podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. And as always, we appreciate your comments and questions. Thanks so much for tuning in.